What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your main man, Juggernaut of Arkatech Beatz. Multi-platinum producers. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. Every night we get on the music production, beat making tutorials. Welcome if it's your first time here. Make sure you're hitting that like button. You got to hit the like button. You got to subscribe. You got to hit the follow button. Follow us at all platforms at Arkatech Beatz. So listen, every night we get together and we make beats, man. And we produce some records. And I let you into the process of making music live. If for those who are using the MPCs, Akai MPC XSE, you know, that's what I'm using. That's my weapon of choice tonight. I want to shout out everybody that comes into the live, folks that always follow us, folks that always be in here, you know what I mean? So we try to get on every night at about 9 o'clock, you know, give or take. So, you know, we do our thing, you know what I mean? But shout out to everybody that's always joining into us with the live. I'll wait for some people to jump in here. Hopefully, you know, we get started in a few seconds, you know what I mean? Just trying to get our stuff set up, you know what I mean? Know what I mean? If you know, you know. We just doing what we do, man. We just make it happen, you know. Going live every night on them. Yeah, we doing what we do. Now, why is that showing that? That's weird that it's showing what that's showing. But, you know, we're going to make it do what it do tonight. Oh, you know what? I know what I did wrong with that. I was supposed to put the at night and add it in. Ashkin, what's up, man? What's going on? You ain't missed nothing yet, man. We just getting started, bro. We just getting started. I'm just trying to get myself situated here. You know, I have a little bit of technical difficulties, but those will be solved in 2 seconds. We're gonna be taking care of that. We're about to get started in this thing. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. Yo, salute to everybody that's coming into the live. Joshua, what's up, man? Oh, he said he got the one. Okay. Salute to you, my brother. Oh, you said you mean since Friday. Man, all those lives is up, man. You got to watch those back. Get busy tonight. Yo, shout out to everybody that's coming into the live, man. Shout out to everybody that's coming into the live. Speed it up a little bit. Make sure y'all hitting the like button. Make sure y'all sharing. Multi-platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. Big Pun Nas, Jada Kiss the Game, Max B, Killer Mike, Saha the Prince, Freddie Gibbs. You name it, we did it. Let's get busy. We're going to lay this sample down right here real quick. That's about 4 bars. Already, I see you. I don't know if you notice, there's a little bit of a gap in the way that it starts. So what I'm doing now is I'm going into the sample, and what I see is I see some space. So I'm going to remove that space so it loops a little bit more clean, okay? I gotta hit the like button tonight. That's better. Level this. Let's lay down this hi-hat real quick. Let's go. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. Alright, Rob, what's up? Gotta get this percussion right. Let's go. You're gonna add open hat. Let's go. Snaring. We're gonna get this right here. So we're going to add our snare down. Shout out to everybody that's jumping into the live. Shout out to everybody that's sending gifts. I appreciate that. We're going to get the snare down. is about to go crazy. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's in the live, man. This one about to go crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm gonna do a little tweaking here. I just want it to fall a little bit better because I hear it. We about to go bonkers on this one. We about to go bonkers on this one. About to get busy. Let's go. Get that down. Let's get it. Let's go. I got one more thing I want to add here. Try to get this. Do one more thing here. I'm gonna put this in here. Kobe Music, man, I appreciate it. Listen, I appreciate everybody coming into the live. Every night we get on at 9 o'clock, we get into the live. For those who do not know who we are Arkatech Beatz. I am part of a platinum production crew. Shout out to my partner, Mike Trauma D. I am Juggernaut. We have produced for everybody from Big Pun to Nas, The Game, Jadakiss, Killer Mike, Freddie Gibbs, Sci-Hi the Prince, Shorty Low, Waka Flocka, you name it, we've done it. So I just want people who are in my FYP who see us making beats and the stuff, just try to make folks, try to make folks understand, like, listen, it's really real here. We get people in, we try to show people what we're doing, we break down the beats, I break down the business, I tell people what's going on. Don't do this on your contracts, read the books, learn the music publishing. You know, after we start making some beats, then, you know, people start asking questions in the chat, and I always answer any questions people might have in regards to the music business. So what's the name of the beat that I'm making? I haven't named it yet. So normally what happens is they'll let the chat help me name the beats. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just get busy. I just, you know, if you was here when we started, I started with the sample and we just start building the beats. Felix is asking if we sell the beats. We only put some of these beats up on our website, arkatechbeatz.com, but we do limited licensing. That's the only thing that we're doing. We're just doing limited licenses. We probably do 1 to 5 licenses tops. And the only reason why we do that is because at this stage in our careers, we're only looking to really add on to some artists that really want to work. You know, so we make everything kind of tight. We make things limited. And then what happens is that the artists that happen to pick up licenses or buy beats from us, then what happens is they get into a situation where they have access to us, and then we can, you know, help to develop whatever sound that they're working on. Because not only are we, you know, multi-platinum producers, we also were A&Rs at Loud Records, and we know we did all that stuff as far as artist development and all those type of things. I think I'm gonna try to. Always too wavy. You found the right place. So now with this sample, right? I don't know if you guys are hearing it, what I'm hearing, but what I'm hearing is that. I hear something, but I'm gonna show you rather than. And then what I'm gonna do here. So what I'm gonna do with this sample is I hear a part of the sample that I believe is lagging behind the beat, right? And sometimes that happens with a loop. And then, so whenever you find that happening, the best thing to do is you can either chop your sample and trigger it manually so that you can get it back on time. So what I'm doing now is I'm copying the sample to another pad, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mute group. So I'm going to start on this pad, and then I'll end the rest of the sample cut off with the next pad. And you know, the MPC does this nice thing what we call mute groups. So this is on D7, and then the other part is on D8. So I'm gonna make I'm gonna let pad D7 cut off pad D8, and vice versa. And then pad D8 cut off D7. So you kind of want to work it in both directions. So you want one pad to cut off. So D8 cuts off D7, and D7 cuts off D8, and that's how we create the mute group. So I should name it Drowned in Darkness. Yeah, we're going to put it out to the chat, and we're going to see if we can get a name. You know what I'm saying? Most gifts get the name. Let's go. Now that I got it triggered, I'm gonna just play with this start point to see if I can get it to start a little earlier. Well, I see you. what we want to do is we want to create another sequence, right? Because we need to get something that's going to be more of a verse that you could rap on kind of straight, right? So we're going to create a new sequence. We're not creating a new sequence, but we're just copying the sequence. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to so on this one we're going to try to now what we want to do is we want to get rid of all of those fills. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the fills from this part of the sequence, because remember we want something just to rap on, right? So just bear with me. What we're doing is we're building the track out the way that it needs to be built out. I know some people was asking, do we go into song mode? This is the way that we got to do it. Just copying this over, and then we're gonna remove the crash. Remove that crash, and then we're gonna do the we're gonna get rid of we're gonna change the kick here. try it one more time. What's going on with my NPC tonight? One more thing to this, so it's a better place. Where was that at? Sync Radio. We just in sync radio. We just made the beat, man. We just did this, man. In the last how long we been live now? The last 35 minutes. We just did this. I'm looking for a name for the beat, man. Somebody hit me with a good name in the chat. Chat, name the beat for me tonight. So that's what I'm talking about. Emotionally connected to the rhythm. Now I just heard the loop. I was, every night before I go on, I try to prepare, make sure I have at least 2 or 3 loops that I could work with. Some nights are really good, and then there's some nights that are what's up with that track right there? It's not really but that's just making music, and I'm just trying to get people to really understand what the process is, and just really get into my mind frame, and what am I hearing when I'm making the tracks, you know what I mean? And then have people ask questions. This is the best way for people to learn. NSYNC, man, connect with me, man, because I definitely want to get with some guys in the UK. I see a lot of movement in the UK, but I want to see if we can put something together that's nice. You know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be dope. So just make sure you follow and make sure you link with me in my DM. Yeah, man, we just trying to make it work. Felix, you got to push your music out there, man, and I talk about this every night. This is a new day, and I know people are going to say, what do you mean it's a new day? It's 2025. It's a new day. There's nothing that prevents anybody from really working their music. You just got to be brave enough to put it out. You got to be brave enough to take the scrutiny. You got to be brave enough to to share your art, and you got to do it consistently. The people that do that is the ones that win. Can't be afraid. You gotta just do it. Unspoken love.
Arkatech Beatz.
That's beat number 1. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. Make sure y'all following the live. Make sure y'all sharing the live. Make sure y'all hitting the like button. The like button is just not, the likes right now is just low. Like normally when a beat is fire, the likes is like through the roof. Like the likes is low. The roses is low. I don't know what's happening tonight. I think I like the name Everything for You, and I'm a whole lot. Shout out to what's that? Bad face, good face, bad face. What is that? I'm not even sure what kind of emoji that is. What is that? Is that what dog did at the courthouse? I don't know what that is. Everything for You. We're going to do that. Where's everybody from in the chat, man? In the chat, tell me where y'all from, man. For those who don't know, I am from the Bronx, New York. I've been in this music game for over 20 years. And like I said, I've worked with the best of the best that hip-hop has had to offer. And I'm just here to share the knowledge, man. ATL in the building. I'm in ATL now. Chris Vaughn, what up, man? Yo, we live. Yes, sir, we live. Make sure you're hitting the like button, man. Yes, sir, we live. Yeah, just the same for me, man. Felix, man. I'm from Georgia. I'm from New York, but we here from Georgia. I love the way this is sounding right now, man. This is going crazy. Definitely. That's definitely a banger tonight, man. Shout out to everybody that's in the building now. Watch me put the banger together. As a matter of fact, for those who came in late, let's walk back through the process of what we did, right? Just so that you can kind of get an idea of what we did on this thing to make it go, right? So, for the most part, what we got going on here, we got the sample, of course. And I had to break the sample into two parts. So we had this part, and we broke it into two. And the only reason why we broke it into two is because when it plays straight, there's a part in the middle that kind of lags behind the rest of the beat, so we wind up chopping it, and then we can manipulate where the second part starts to keep everything still in line on the beat, right? So that's really like the mind frame of just making sure your stuff is staying on the grid. If you're a producer that kind of likes things to be a little bit off the grid, like a Jay Dilla type style, I don't knock it, you know what I mean? But for me, I kind of like my stuff to be on the grid. So, I'm very big on making sure that my time codes and everything is working the way I need to work as far as my time signatures, right? So from there, we went into a hat on the 16th. And for those who know, with my hats, if you listen to it very carefully, it's going from a low velocity, which is a lower volume, to a higher volume, going kind of the low, high, right? And it kind of to give it a little bit more of a real drummer feel. Remember, I don't proclaim to be a drummer, and I don't proclaim to be the best drum programmer either. I don't proclaim to be that, I like to kind of program my beats in a way that the tracks can breathe. And when I say that, yeah, we program the hats real time. So I like to kind of make everything program. When I program stuff here, the thing that I try to preach to a lot of upcoming producers is you got to let your tracks breathe, right? Like I could go crazy in making the beat with the crashes and the this and the toms. I could do the whole thing. I could do that. But what happens is I'm not leaving space for the artist to rap. And we have to leave space for the artist. If you're not leaving space for the artist, that's one of the crucial mistakes and errors that producers make in the beginning, is we make our records too elaborate, right? So in these cases, less is more, right? In the beginning, because the beat is starting, if you notice, it has that da 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 da. So it doesn't necessarily start on the one. It actually gives us like one bar of kind of a build up, right? So I had to put some crashes in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 1, 2, and then it pause, and then it comes back in with the crash. So it goes. Right? Trying to build that up. And then I added another hat here, and I put this on the 8. Just to kind of, again, when we right? So it's giving me, so it's actually 2 different hats in here that I have. Right? So now when we go to the snare, so we have the double in the beginning. And then it comes, and then with the regular on every 2, right? And then when we get to the kick, the kick is now to kind of bring everything together, which is if you notice, it's just gonna go. So it's right? And when we put it all together, that's what we got. How many producers do we got in the chat? How many rappers do we got in the chat? How many songwriters do we have in the chat? Because, we're always looking. Richie, what up? Born Ready, what up? I Am Raw, what up? Jacquel, what up? Felix Perez, what up? I appreciate the gifts of roses. Make sure y'all hitting the like button. Make sure y'all sharing the live, man. Share the live with producers. Share the live with other artists. Share the live with anybody that you think can help on the live. If you have questions, put them into the chat. I'll answer them. You know what I'm saying? I'll answer that. You know what I'm saying? That's what this whole thing is about. This whole thing that I'm doing every night on the lives is to really help aspiring artists. Like that's the main thing. It's just to help. You know what I mean? Like really, that's really the thing here. Ken, what up? How many artists? You see some people in here that they pushing their label. How many artists? The label game, you need money. Label game is tough. Got you. Somebody's asking me about my monitors, my headphones. I'm using my headphones that I'm using. The Audio Technica headphones. I need to put them into the. I need to put them onto the site for. I don't really. I can't particularly say that they're like special. I just like I had some Audio Technica stuff when I first started. I had an Audio Technica microphone and stuff like that. When I first started, that still works. When I had my first studio in 1996, you know what I mean, and it was a workhorse, and we recorded everything with that. So I was buying stuff that lasted. So it's not really a thing where I would say, some people buy headphones to mix in. So I don't recommend it for that to mix in. You know what I mean? Because after I get off the live, I'm gonna just listen back on my Yamahas, and then I'll make the tweaks there to kind of get things where they need to be. So I got this new sample in here, right? Whenever you're looking for wireless headphones, just make sure that they don't have too much of a delay. Thomas, man, when I first got my MPC, my first MPC is the MPC 2000, and I always wanted a big boy. I never could get the big boys. Back then, pause, you got to watch how you talk now with the Diddy trial going on. But the MPCs back then, right? I had bought a MPC 2000, and I used to use the MPC 2000 along with an ASR 88 keyboard. And part of the reason why I had that combination is shout out to DR Period. DR Period did like MOP, How About Some Hardcore. He did MOP Annie Up. And I was in the studio with him and my cousin, because my cousin was working at the label, and we went to his studio to just listen to some music. And I swear to you, it was the loudest studio session that I've ever been in. And he had an EPS 16, and then he had an MPC 60, I believe. And when I tell you that joint was knocking, I said, man, I got to make sure that I have that similar setup. So, I already had the ASR. I just put my money together, bought that MPC 2000. And then, most of the stuff that we did for like Raekwon and Mobilarity, we did it on that. Yeah, he from Canarsie. Yeah, that's the old school MPC. So then I didn't, because I had already paid $4,000 for an ASR 88 keyboard. That was like a 120-pound keyboard. I didn't want to go again and buy another MPC that was like $4,000 at that time. It was, that's big money back then. I don't use the ASR anymore. Well, Hero, what's up, man? I should have kept it, man. I sold it, man. I should have kept it. I didn't like that I had to keep loading it up with the discs and the zip drives, and I didn't like that. And that's what kind of drove me away from it. And then, those guys really stopped updating it, so. Cousin had that MV8000. Hero, what's up, man? That's beat number 1, man. Y'all, whoever's coming into the live late, man. I hear drum should be at -8. Well, you say -8 as far as decibels? Can I play the beat? Hold on, I'll play the beat. Hold on a second. You tell me the Knicks lost without Jason Tatum? Don't tell me the Knicks lost without Jason Tatum, God. Please don't tell me that. See, that's that ulcer shit I be talking about. That's why, as a New Yorker, I can't watch these goddamn Knicks games. Them shits give me ulcers. Please tell me them motherfuckers ain't lose. Let me tell y'all something. Yo, how much points Jaylen Brown had? That's what I want to know. How much points did Jaylen Brown have? Because, you know, Jaylen Brown been really playing it low-key because he want to share the stage with Homeboy. Now that Homeboy is out, I think you about to see whose team it really is. So I'm about to get into this next beat. You know what I'm saying? I want to... Let's try it. Who was the highest scorer on the Celtics? Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to everybody that's in the live. So now we're going to do something different here real quick. Yeah, Tony, we gonna get it in. So we're doing the same thing here that we did with the last beat, which is we're copying the sample, and then we're gonna do a mute group because we want one sample to cut off the other sample. So one sample on D5, one sample on D6. So now that we got both samples on here, hold on. Alright, so now on this sequence, what we're going to do is we're going to make this the verse. So check this out. definitely gonna hold on. Steven is asking if I would consider doing beat reviews. Yeah, I do. We do reviews. We've done reviews in the past. You know what I mean? Like we do reviews and we do one-on-ones and we get the feedback. Like, that's really what the whole thing is. We're here to try to give try to help people, man, and try to get them the feedback, and try to get folks to understand what's going on. I need a name for this track. So this is track number 2. We've been live for an hour and 15 minutes. This was the first track we did. If you missed the first part of the live. That joint's going. It really is going. Sometimes you get a joint that's going to go. Yeah, I need a name for the track, chat. Come on. The second track, that is. Beatz has this pray to the Lord. What? I like that. It's an Amazing Grace. Yeah, that would make sense, right? Amazing Grace, right? It would make sense. Hold on. Yeah, Amazing Grace. That's simple. It's already there. Duh. Duh. Arkatech Beatz. Folks, for tracks and licensing information, visit arkatechbeatz.com. You will see a limited number of tracks that are available. Me and my partner, Mike Trauma D, we only do limited licensing. Very, very limited licensing. So we're not like, the guys that are, selling the same tracks over and over and over again to 10,000 people. We don't really do that. But if anybody has quote unquote questions, I got another 10 minutes and I'm answering questions on the music business. Just holler at me. Come on. Nah, I'm not in NY anymore. I've been out of NY since 2007. We came out of. I moved out here after Lincoln. With we when I first came down here, we used to come out here. We used to fly out here and see if who we can link up with. And the first artist that we linked up with when we came out here in 2007, 2008 was Lil Scrappy. He showed us love, and coming out of New York. He had just signed like G Unit. Alien, what up? So, shortly after that, we got with Shorty Low and Shorty Low's manager, and he kind of helped us navigate this whole Atlanta scene. So, shout out to him, Johnny Cabell. And I've been out here ever since. Mike is still in New York though. Mike never left. He just comes out here frequently. Do I make freestyle beats? No, I haven't really tried freestyle. Haven't tried it, but yeah. Rest in peace, Shorty Low, man. We got this record with him. It's called it's him featuring the lovely Grammy award-winning Maya, Lady Marmalade herself, ghetto superstar herself. Shorty Low and Maya. The record is called About My B.I. About My B.I. It's on her album called Beauty in the Streets. She been out here doing her thing, man, on the independent scene. She got a cult following, for people who don't know. I don't work for anybody. We got our own label, Arkatech Beatz Entertainment, distributed by the Orchard / Sony. So, we got our own situation. We do what we kind of want in the game right now. Make sure y'all check out that Lloyd Banks, man. That Lloyd Banks, taking notes, man. Banks just dropped the album, so he ain't doing nothing no time soon. Need to bring 50 Cent out of retirement. Save that for another night. I got about 5 minutes on the live, man. Make sure y'all hitting the like button, right? Before I get out of here, we're going to be out here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I'm taking questions in the chat. Tony, we got to put in work, Tony. You got to be around here, man. If you got to come to these lives, man, and not give everybody the game. But it's, you got to get that motion, man. Elliot said the other beat sound like a 50 Cent beat. Yeah, because 50 Cent raps on beats that loop a certain type of way. Only he likes very short loops and beats that kind of go in that kind of cadence. So it's the stuff you got to pay attention to when you're doing it. When you're doing this, like what guys like to rap on and pay attention to. Any other questions in the chat, man? Make sure you're grabbing these books, man. Make sure y'all grabbing this Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, the Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, and then also the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. Like, these things are essential, man. For people who do not know, they're essential, man. There's a lot of shenanigans going on in this business, man. And, you know, as we continue to do the lives, I'm going to have, you know, tell people more about a lot of these shenanigans that occur. Because, man, it's crazy. Anybody watching that Diddy trial? Kaz, what up? This a signature snare. I wouldn't say it's a signature snare. You know, I have some snares in this particular kit. I got some go-tos. That's a go-to. That's a go-to. That's a go-to. That's a go-to. This one I'm gonna remove. That's a go-to. That's a go-to. The joints that we did last night, if you go back and you check the live from last night, yes, all of those beats were done on this kit, which is the Arkatech Beatz. Nah, the stock ain't really got no sauce, man. I don't. I look for my joints and I do a little tweaking. You know what I mean? So I'm out here. I'm building. You know, I'm building my own drums to kind of get the feel that I want. You know what I mean? Hero, yeah, the shenanigans are at an all-time high. Do I do layers? No. I don't really layer stuff like that unless I'm like the most that I would layer might be a clap on top of a snare here and there. It just depends, especially if you're doing trap music, it's a little different. You know, it just kind of depends on what you're trying to do and the sound you're trying to get. You know, I'm open to layer and I'm open to do whatever I got to do to get it to sound the way I need it to sound. You know, so if I got a sample doing something and I need it to match that, then, you know, I'm going to, you know, do whatever I got to do to make it match or marry really well with the sample. if that makes sense. Elliot said he was waiting for 50 Cent to jump on. That's crazy. Any questions, man? I'm about to jump off of this thing. We're going to be back in again tomorrow about 9 o'clock. You know, try to be on time. If you notice, I don't really do too much EQing on a lot of these drums. Very, very, very seldom do I do EQ. I'm a very big proponent of just pick the right sounds, man. You know, and then if you have to add a little EQ to get it to kind of mesh in the mix, then yeah. So what advice do I have for shopping beats? You gotta post them. You know, if I'm being honest, it's 2025. You gotta post. You gotta post your beats, bro. You gotta post them every chance you get. Like that's the real situation out here. Is posting. You know what I mean? And if you're not afraid to spend a few dollars, then of course you can go Facebook or Google Ads. And even when you're using Facebook and or Google Ads, remember that's really more for it's really more for audience building. You know what I mean? It's very hard to get it to convert very early. It's because Facebook doesn't have the data. See, what happens when folks are using paid ads, they don't realize how it really works. Is that the first thing for your paid ads when you're doing paid ads is that you have to have something that captures the data of the customer on your website, and that's called a pixel. And if you have a pixel properly installed on your website, what it does is that it tracks the behavior of potential customers on your website, how long they're there, what sites they click on, what they click on, what they're interested in, etc., etc. Once Facebook ads or Google ads, whatever, once it drives the traffic to your website and your pixel starts to figure out who your ideal customer is, then it starts to send your ads to people who are more likely to buy and or engage in your content. Does the MPC flatten the sound? Nope. I use FL too, but the sound in the MPC, man, to me is unmatched. You know, FL does a different type of thing. You know, it just depends on the genre. You know what I mean? Because remember, FL can do these things with, like, you know, with slides and different things as far as, like, you know, the EQing of 808s, etc. So that's a little bit of a different platform that makes that work. But I would always say that the MPC hits the loudest. And MPC has a different sound than the FL. You know. Ashkin, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, man, I appreciate everybody for sharing the live, man. I appreciate everybody that came into the live. I appreciate any gifts that people send. I appreciate that. Yo, make sure that y'all are checking us out. Come tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. I'm gonna try to see if I can pull something up in. Nah, Kaz, we here, man. If you got questions, man, we can always, you know, try to answer the questions to kind of help you save time. I think we were talking about that yesterday. I was like, yo, just trying to help you save time, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing worse. This is what I remember when I was in it. I remember it in the beginning. I remember looking for information and couldn't find any. Because remember now, this is everything that I'm talking about is pre YouTube type stuff. You know what I mean? Like Google and that stuff, and Yahoo was just starting. Like, you know what I mean? So that information was never out there. You know? So it's like the information wasn't out there. I wasn't sure what equipment to buy. Man, back in those days. Listen. If you're old enough prior to like, if you're old enough prior to like mainstream internet, right? If you're one of those America Online guys, right? Without telling your age, can you imagine the amount of propaganda and ignorance that we fell for back then? Like, they could have told us anything. They could have told us there was Martians, living under our living under our beds or something like that. Like, we would have believed anything. We had no way to validate any data. Nothing. Whatever they told us, we had to believe. So, I don't want those times back. I love it where we are right now. Yeah, flash drives and crack software, and listen, man. If you know, you know. And if you was computer savvy back then, like, listen, you got away with murder. You know what I mean? If you were computer savvy. So those days are like, those beginning internet days, man, for people who know, you know what I mean? So but I'm about to jump on off. I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? I'll be on tomorrow, give or take 9ish. I'll leave you with these beats before I go. Arkatech Beatz. What up, East Santana?